Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Book of Bones, 10 record-breaking animals. I'm going to take just a second and go through the book in case you've never read it before. We did put a few copies out on some of the tables so you can look at them. They are kind of special. If you notice, Autumn's looking through it. If you get into some of the pages, you can notice that there's some touch and feel elements to the skeleton, some of the skeletons. And if you even look closer, if you have a flashlight on your phone, some of the animals on one page will they're kind of, the skeleton on one page is in the same place on this one. So if you put a flashlight underneath, you can kind of see the skeleton behind the animal as well as feel it. So it's kind of a cool book. Let's talk about it really briefly. I'm not going to read every word, but I want you to become familiar with it. Guess who knows a lot about bones? You do. You know that soft part of your belly is not a bone, but that the hard part of your rib is. You know that your bones make up your skeleton and that your skeleton gives your shape. You know that bones come in all shapes and sizes, and most animals, from the tiny mouse to the enormous Tyrannosaurus Rex, have or had bones inside them. Do you know which animal has the biggest bone in the world, or the smallest, or the spikiest? You will. As soon as you meet the 10 incredible animals in this book, examine their skeletons and read the clues to guess which impressive animal goes with which bones. Are you ready? The biggest bone. Huge, gigantic, tremendous. That's me. Inside my massive body, I have the world's biggest bone. My mandible, the long bone in my lower jaw, is a whopping 20 feet long. That means 3 motorcycles could sit in a row in my jawbone. You have a mandible too, but yours is small enough to fit in the palm of your hand. I live in the ocean. I swim great distances. I can live for 100 years. Who am I? Any ideas? I am a blue whale. I'm going to give you some facts about the blue whale. Guess who has the smallest bones? I am teeny tiny. My skull is smaller than your pinky nail. Inside my skull are my ears, and inside my ears are the smallest bones in the world. My hammer, anvil, and stirrup bones. You have these bones, too. Yours are about as long as an eyelash. Mine are about the size of the dot right here, which is even smaller than the ones in your book. I am easily startled and very shy. I scurry through farmlands, gardens, and olive groves. I have a venomous bite. What? Who am I? Anybody know? I am the Etruscan shrew. Okay, here's some other who am I's. Guess who has the most bones? A reticulated python. Guess who has the longest neck bone? They say they sleep standing up. They saunter through the grassy plains of Africa and use their long tongues to clean their ears. Ugh. And this is what is so fun about this book, is some of the facts are fascinatingly weird that the kids really love, and I love. So who is this? Who has the longest neck bone? The giraffe, a reticulated giraffe. The heaviest bone, any guesses? The African bush elephant. The lightest bones, and there's actually a note about this one in the back, because you would think, oh, hummingbird, which is the smallest bird, which overall would be light, but they're saying light compared to size, is actually a peregrine falcon. The thinnest bone is a bumblebee bat, not just a regular bat, but a bumblebee bat. The fastest growing bone, again, there's a note about this in the end, but it's most likely the Alaskan moose. The spikiest bone is the regal horned lizard, and my students always love the fact that They can shoot stinky blood from their eyes. Isn't that awesome? And they're called the regal horned lizard because they have this little crown of spiky things. The fewest bones belongs to the hammerhead shark. And guess who else has special bones? You do. And it goes through and compares and contrasts how some of the bones in our own bodies are very similar or the same as bones in some of the other animals. So we're going to do some music activities with this book. Isn't that a fun book? I'm quite excited about it. So bones. As I sing this song, would you listen for some rhyming words? Big or small, heavy, tall, light or longest of them all, many kinds and shapes and sizes, bones are so full of surprises. Did you hear any rhyming words? Which ones did you hear, Scott? I heard Scott say yes.
Small, tall, all sizes and surprises.
Small, tall, all, and then he said sizes and surprises. Would you listen again and see if you can hear those rhymes? Big or tall, small, big or small, heavy, tall, light or longest of them all, many kinds and shapes and sizes, bones are so full of surprises. Oh my gosh, this closed caption thing's on. Isn't that just the weirdest thing? Sorry. I just noticed it. I start seeing weird looks, and I'm like, what? Oh, that's on. Okay, sorry. That is very strange. Okay, this time, if you would like to sing along with me, but we're going to play. If there's anybody that would like to play a boom whacker, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The first 12 of you to come grab one can have one to play. Come, grab one. Go, go, go. And if you don't get a chance this time, maybe somebody who has one will share and let you have a turn. Okay, the accompaniment to this one only has 2 different notes, so that's why I only had green and red ones. And so if you're the kid that goes, but my favorite color is pink, I'm like, well, that just doesn't work with our song. So first, to play a boom whacker, I don't let my students play the boom whacker on tables or floors or chairs. I just have them tap in their hand lightly. And you can hear, now just listen, if you can hear where the sweet spot is, there's a place in the boom whacker where if you start tapping it, you can hear it resonate better than other places. Just listen. Isn't that weird? It's just, okay, so there it is right there. And you don't have to tap that hard. If you're hurting your hand, then you're tapping too loud. So just find the sweet spot, and I let the kids have a chance to find where it is. Okay, our 2 pitches are C and G. Well, you just sing the pitches with me. And if it's a red C, you're going to play your red C boom whacker. And if it's a green G, you're going to play your green G boom whacker. And if there's a nothing sign there, then don't sing or don't play. Ready? Let's just sing these notes. C, 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 G, 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 C, 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 G, G, C, C. You guys are so good. Okay, I think you guys that were playing have it. If you will play, and we're going to start singing big, ready, together. Big or small, heavy, tall, light or longest of them all, many kinds and shapes and sizes, bones are so full of surprises. Let's go one more time. First try. It's a little different without me pointing. I'll try pointing again. Ready, sing. Big or small, heavy, tall, light or longest of them all, many kinds and shapes and an activity, here's an extension activity besides just singing the song that you can do. In your group, I love to give students choice, and I always give students choice, except today and you. Not going to get choice. Just going to give you a paper with one of the animals on. Kelleen is she's going to be your chooser today. Each table is going to get an animal. And all I want you to do is write a sentence. Collectively come up with a sentence about your animal. The words and the syllables of your sentence should fit within the 8 beats. And then just practice chanting it, just saying it, not singing it, to the 8 beats. The example in the handout is something like, all bird bones are very light, okay? Or blue whale skulls are big as pickup trucks. That fits within 8 beats. Yeah, if they want to. Sure. So come up with something, and here's the kicker. You only have like a minute and a half. So come up with one sentence that describes something about your animal.
I would need a row of 5 king-size beds. 400 bones in my spine.
It doesn't have to rhyme. It doesn't have to rhyme.
Really long head. Yeah. See, the syllables are syllables.
Longest python, 25 feet long. Almost. I'm the longest python, 25 feet long.
Maybe just 25 feet.
How long?
Okay, so let me clarify. You're only going to do one line. Only one line, which is about 8 counts. Try your line while I count to 8. Ready? Just say it. We're all going to say ours together. Ready, play. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you're done. Okay? Try it again. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you're done. Does it work? Good. If it doesn't work, you've got another second to try and make an adaptation. Okay. Everyone say your chant all together. 1, 2, everybody. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nice. Oh, some of you are just overachievers and you're singing. I love you. So cute. Okay, this is what we're going to do. I'm just going to point to your table and just have you chant it. And this is why I'm going to chant, so you don't have to. For some kids, I can tell you already know the song. But for students, if I did it this fast, they wouldn't know the song very well yet. And so that's why I'm going to show you an adaptation that you can make and just have them say it instead of sing it. But then after I do 3 tables, we can all sing, bones are so full of surprises. We can try that. Ready? 1, 2, this table first.
Longest python, 25 feet long.
Whales are mighty, their bones are big. Rest.
Giraffes thinking lions to death.
Bones are so full of surprises. Let's hear yours.
Shrews can bathe in still soup spoon. I have big tusks and a long trunk.
Peregrine falcons have light bones.
Everyone sing.
Bones are so full of surprises. I can shoot stinky blood from my eyes.
Smallest animal of them all.
Moose bones grow the fastest of all. Bones are so full full of surprises.
Oh, you guys are so good. Okay, so the next thing would be to have them put their thing to the tune. So some of you were already doing that. And then you could have them do it to the tune and accompany with the boomwhackers. Or this is actually the tune to a song called Bluebird, Bluebird. And it's part of the USBE songbook. And so just for fun, we're not going to do that. But you can hear how, oh, never mind, I'm not hooked up to sound. So you could use that as your accompaniment as well. So it would give you an introduction and 3 groups, and then you can all end with, bones are so full of surprises. Does it matter if it doesn't rhyme? No, it doesn't matter at all. Okay, the next one is Who Am I? This one, I need you to get, everyone has one set of desk bells, so you can just choose which ones you want. If it's C, E, or A, or D, G, or B. Can you get those out really quickly? The reason I love desk bells is because I can set them in front of students. These especially are a little hard for them to get like right on the beat, but this is not hard for them. And it also prohibits them from going, wow, this is really fun, and because, you know. So I just set them down and say they just stay on the floor and they can tap them. So that's why all of these are kind of desk bell. This song, here's our accompaniment. C, E, and A, will you play all together? 1, 2, play. Again, 1, 2, play. One more time, play. One more time, play. Nice. DGB, let's have you play. Ready, go. One more time. One more time. Nice, I think we've got it. Okay, just so you know, the first group, CEA is going to play, and then DGB. And you're gonna alternate the first group, second group, first group, second group, all the way through until we get to the end, and then it's just gonna be group one to end it off. Let's try this. These 3 notes are C, E, A, and if you don't know that, that's okay, but now you do. And you just know that when you see that group of notes, the one that looks like a little lower on the staff, that's when you play, C, E, or A. And if you see this note, it's D, G, and B, and that's when you play. Ready? Play.
Where do I live? What do I eat? What do I like to do? Who am I? Who am I? I won't tell you.
Lovely. That's the song. Yes, thank you, Miriam. One more time. And if anybody wants to sing with me that has a voice, I'd love the extra vocal support. Ready, and.
What do I eat? What do I like to do? Who am I? Who am I? I will tell you.
Oh, that sounds so much better when you're singing with me. Thank you. This song can be used as a springboard for students to tell all about themselves or about animals that they have researched either from this book or a different book. They could create new lyrics, kind of like we did with the last thing, that fit the form of the song. Or what we're going to do next is, can you stand up, please? I need one group that will stay and play. Who wants to be my playing group? Somebody that has both sets. I need a table that has both sets, CEA and DGB. Okay, do you guys have it? Oh, they're set. Okay, the rest of us are gonna stand up. We're gonna walk around and sing, and by the end, I want you to face a partner of somebody that you don't know. I don't know, maybe you know all the people in the room. See if you can find a friend that you don't know. Okay, are you ready, players? Here we go. a partner, tell your partner a fact about the animal that you had on your table. Okay, now let your partner tell about their animal. Okay, and now we're going to walk and sing again. Are you ready? Here we go.
Where do I live? What do I eat?
Find a new partner.
What do I like to do? Who am I? Who am I? I will tell you.
This time, tell your partner something about where do you live? And you can tell them your name too. Oh, where they live, personally. The person. Okay, singing and playing. Here we go. Ready, go.
Where do I live? What do I eat? What do I like to do?
Find a new partner.
Who am I? Who am I? I will tell you.
Tell them who you are and tell them what do you like to do, personally. And face me. That's the end of the music activity, but thank you. Would you go put your handouts back on your desk? And I'm going to give the microphone to Miriam. And you can stay standing because she's going to take you into that space, I believe. Thank you so much.
Let's give it up for Jen. What a fun music section. Okay, my friends, we are going to practice a skill where we take our general knowledge and we're going to move. And moving doesn't have to be as big as you think. So just take your hand and touch your head and say general knowledge. Now, can we recognize that my general knowledge is different than yours? Because we all have different life experiences and we all learn differently. Now take your other hand and put it out in front of you and say, what I see and read. Now bring both hands together and say, inference. So making an inference is making an educated guess from the general knowledge that we have in our brain and from things that we see and that we hear. And you've already gathered things with Jennifer, and we're going to take that and we're going to practice this. Now, I'm going to read a page again that we've already read, but we might dive a little deeper. And as we do that, could you use your, wow, I should choose a different animal. Well, we're just going to imagine that you don't know the animal, okay? It's okay. It's okay. So we're going to imagine and make an educated guess as to which animal we think it could be. And then as you go along, can you gather ideas from the pictures and the words that we could transfer into movement? Because then we're going to embody it. And even Confucius knew how important this was, right? I hear, and what happens? I forget. I see, and I usually remember because our visual sense is very strong. But when I do something, I understand. Okay, my friends, find your way over to the empty space and just find a place where you're nice and comfortable. Okay, good job on your first assignment. Here we go. So, the incredible book of bones. Now, we know a lot about bones, but let's learn a little bit more. Can you go to our first Who Am I page? All right, let's listen to some of this information, and as we're doing it, can you bring ideas and envision and thoughts? Right here. Okay, guess who has the biggest bone? Huge, gigantic, tremendous. That's me. Inside my massive body, I have the world's biggest bone, my mandible. My mandible is the longest bone, and it's in my lower jaw. It's a whopping 20 feet long. I love to take a ruler and do actual size. And when my students have a mind blowing, they just go, right? That means 3 motorcycles could sit in a row on my jawbone. You have a mandible too. Can you locate it? Because we can put ours right in the palm of our hand. I live in the ocean. I swim great distances, and I can live for 100 years. Now keep bringing things in. Ooh, I see expressions you're wondering. My skull alone is bigger than a pickup truck, right? I also have the world's biggest skeleton. It's about 90 feet long. It's longer than a bowling alley. Strike. Isn't this playful language? Your students will love it. My mandible is the biggest bone in the world, and just like you, I have finger bones, but mine are inside flippers. Can you just take your phalanges? Don't you love that we know? And could you imagine they were encased in flippers? And show me how you would move. Yes, yes. Okay, raise your hand if you can make an inference. Take a guess. And did you know that scientists don't even care if their guess is wrong? You guys already know the answer. Somebody raise your hand. Yes, what is it? Powerful swimmers. What animal do you think this is? Go deeper, Tracy. Just say what comes to your mind. It's okay. A whale. Did you know your students will usually say whale? Go deeper. Can you guess what kind of whale? Because there's a lot of whales out there. It has to do with the color. A blue whale. Turn the page. Here it is. I love to show the flashlight. Now let's gather a little more information. And remember that you're trying to take ideas that you can transfer into motion. All right? I'm the world's largest animal. I'm bigger than any dinosaur that ever lived. Thanks to my enormous mandible, my mouth is so large, I could fit 100 of your friends on my tongue. Don't worry, I don't eat humans. I eat krill, tiny shrimp-like creatures that live in the sea. I need lots and lots of krill to keep me going. My mandible helps me swallow over 700,000 krill in just one gulp. Good thing, because I need about 40 million krill a day. That's like eating 24,000 bathtubs full of jelly beans. And I have a jelly bean on the table. I love to bring these actual things, okay? Now, thank you so much for helping me with the book. You could set it down somewhere. So, smile at me if you got an idea of, like, I know how to move huge and make tremendous movements, or I know how to swim, right? Can I tell you, if you don't know how to move, practice your swim strokes. They're amazing, especially in the air. So, I don't see too many smiles. Did you get an idea? Okay, good. So, who knows our biggest bone? It's not our mandible. What? You got it. It's your femur. So touch above your knee, come all the way up to your hip, and say femur bone. Your femur bone helps you move through space. So to begin our movement, I would like you to make a huge, tremendous shape that accentuates your femur bone. Now, I want you to know in dance, your instrument is your body. The body you're dancing with today is the body you use tomorrow. So do what works for you, find what feels good, and make a cool beginning shape. That's huge, gigantic. Stretch. Yep. To get huge, you go away from the court. These are awesome. I even see different levels. When the music begins, I would like you to find movement that was inspired by something you heard or something you saw, and we're just going to explore. Ready? Here we go. Move big, swimming, cover distances, eat krill. Nice. What could you, whoa, I just saw something huge and tremendous. What can you move besides your legs and arms? What could you make large? Whoa, I just saw many more of your bones being used. And find a stopping shape that is different than the one you began with, but is still huge, and freeze. My music did not want to stop. I loved what I saw. Okay, great. Could you imagine we just did that with the Etruscan shrew? And let's go opposite, okay? So just due to time, and we're all on the fast track, we're gonna come into our core, which brings everything very small, because this is the smallest bone in the world. And did you know there's 3 of them? And did you know we have them too? They're your anvil, stirrup, and hammer bones, and they're inside your ear. Put your teeth on your upper lip and say the letter V sound. Can you feel that vibrate? Now put your fingers on your throat and do it again. Now could you vibrate within your body? It's like a shiver. Our air just came on. Shiver and vibrate. I love it. Okay, could you shrink so small that only, because the skull of the Etruscan shrew is as big as your pinky nail. That's tiny. Here we go, tiny, tiny, tiny. And we're just gonna go opposite and try to do small moving. In fact, tuck your head in and only move that pinky finger. This is amazing to watch students try to isolate. Now could you move the other pinky? This is the coolest pinky dance. Now we're going to keep adding body parts, but we're going to keep it small. And you can do small on a low, a medium, or a high level. Here we go. Keep adding body parts. Keep what you're doing small. How can you move your head in small ways? Or your shoulders? I love it. Nice job, everybody. Star on your forehead. Pat on your scapula. Okay. So, on a really fast track, and thank you for doing this with me because you're experiencing it. In my lesson plan, I will talk you through things that I'm racing through today. Today, because of time, rather than going into 6 groups, is that rain or is that the fan? How cool is that? We should do a rain dance. Okay. I think what I'd love to do is go like this, and we're going to have 2 groups, okay? So could you gather in your groups, and I need a brave person to kind of lead the group. You're going to facilitate. Don't worry. It won't be too hard. Okay, good job. Without doing the math, it looks like we got pretty even. Who's my leader? Okay, here's what we're going to do. Now, what I just took you through was group choreography. Today, we have now put like large group choreography. I do love taking this to small group choreography, and you can read in the lesson plan how I do it. It's a little different than I did with you today. Also up here, these are dance elements and concepts that provide interest in your movement. So if you're like, our dance needs something interesting, change your level. Find a different pathway, change your speed. What's your energy like? Are you all smooth and sustained? Then get percussive. What are you doing on balance and off balance? How are you using space? And what we just did as a whole group was called improvisation. And that means we just kind of made it up as we went, right? But we are actually going to set choreography. Okay, wow, we have got a storm coming. Heidi, would you be so kind as to find, oh, I know what I did with it. It's over here. Let me just walk to the camera. It's going to be like a sandwich. Put your two hands up in the air. Okay, say piece of bread one. Piece of bread two. Bring them together. Who likes a plain bread sandwich? No one. So we need interest in the middle, okay? So we're going to start with a shape. Put your hand back out and say shape. And we're going to end with a shape. Say shape. Movement. Now this movement has to match your animal. So every move you make is scientifically backed. So if you're like, oh, I'm just doing this because I love to do this, you have to subtract it because it would only be movement that matches your animal. And this really supports the language arts standards, right? I like to talk about, like, what do you like in your sandwiches, right? We want to put interesting things. And up here, we're now going to go into choreography, like on the fast track, right? And I also in my lesson plan have a way to help your groups collaborate. Today, try to contribute, try to give something even if you're just great support, okay? So, what I'm going to do, I need my leaders to raise their hands. Come up, Miss Jessica, thank you for being a lead. Yep, and choose an animal. Actually, when I do this, I do Mission Impossible. Da, 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 and they have to come up very stealthily. Oop, don't show each other. Okay, go to your group. Begin your choreographing. Leaders, help them see all the scientific facts. These are taken from the book. And so pick, everybody freeze. You're so good at getting going. Let's do 2 middles and 3 if you're done before I say time's up. I will ding a bell to help you know that it's time to start winding this up. Try to make sure that you're moving more than talking. Ready, go. You can make noise. This is a noisy and chaotic process. So, oh, I get it, you're reading. Once you have ideas, raise your hand and say, oh, I have this idea, we could do this amazing shape, or we could do this amazing movement.
My horns grow bigger throughout my life, bigger and spikier too. They get bigger as I go. The name comes from a crown-like shape of my 10 horns. 10 of us. I'm the only type of lizard with the first one. 600 pages.
Okay, I'm going to guide you along because our time is so short. Could you make a beginning shape? What could you create together? And take a look. Are you all on the same level? Could you change levels? What direction are you? What size are you? What could you do to provide interest to what's happening? Some of you, I think I already know what animal you've chosen. I love it. Do you have a shape? How could you shape this? Oh, they're going. You're knowing what to do.
Turn to your right or to the left? Turn to the right or the left? We turn left. Your left or turn towards the right?
Okay, from that beginning shape, could you try one movement? If you like that movement, set it and go to your second movement. If things are not seeming quite right, see what you can change. Oh, that was cool. I love what you're doing. Do it. Yes, listen. She's got a... So this is movement 1. You have shape 1, movement 1.
Okay, we're doing it. We're doing it.
Okay, on the fast track, you're ready to do movement 2. Can you do a second movement representing one of the scientific facts of this animal? Today in our keynote, we did a wave. That is successive movement. If you want interest, it looks really cool. And the opposite of that would be simultaneous, where you all moved at the same time. I love it. Being on the fast track, how could you end that is different than your beginning? And you might want to have level changes. Ooh, I love what's going on here.
Then we go back to where she's
Would you kind of wrap up what you're saying and doing and just turn this way? So I'm robbing you of so much creation time. I'm so sorry. But you're doing a great job. So here's what we're going to do. Put up your hands, say shape. Shape. Movement 1. Movement 2. Did anyone get to 3? Okay, we're going to stop at 2. Ending shape. Say ending shape. Ending shape. Okay, I'm going to guide you through this, and I'm not going to turn on music, and I'd like you to just show me that in your mind you're clear as to your beginning, your 2 movement choices that represent your animal and the end. Ready? Shape 1. Nice. Now, can I tell you a professional secret? If you don't know what you're doing, fake it till you make it. Just stand and just act like you know, okay? You are all doing well. Movement 1. We have opposition here. This is awesome. Movement 2. Oh, okay. If you have a third movement, go into that. If you do not, go to ending shape. Oh. And do you move in that? Is that your ending shape, or do you now have? Okay, now
Move and then hold.
go.
Or just hold down here.
Hold it.
I love it. Okay. Who would like to perform first? We will. Okay. Group 1, you will perform. Group 2, you will observe and infer. You are going to try to make an educated guess as to which their animal is. Where's my leader? Come talk to me. Tell me which animal, and I will put your music on. Gotcha. Could have gone better if we practiced for 15 minutes or half an hour. Okay, let's say what we noticed, what we wondered, what we thought about, or if you want to be so brave as to make an inference as to which animal, and then you must back it as to why. What movement gave you that clue? We have a lot of people right here. She wondered. They're all smiling. Nice. Anyone else? Yes.
I wondered if they weren't all individual elephants, if maybe there was 2 groups being one elephant.
I love it. One more.
I was just going to say elephant.
What kind of an elephant? Go deeper.
African elephant.
An African elephant. Give it up for our group. Nice job. How do you feel that they took your movement choices and understood your animal? Okay, you're now the audience. You are the performers. And where's my leader? I think I know what you are, but let's do this correctly. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's reflect. What did you see? What did you wonder about? What did you notice?
What did they have antlers?
Okay, nice. Because you saw that energy up there. What else? Horns?
Is that what you said?
It's kind of the same thing.
Okay. Anything else?
Were they attacking something?
Okay,
Right.
right, okay.
I wondered if they were shooting something.
I wondered if the antlers were growing.
So give me an educated guess. What did you think they might be according to what we've...
Moose.
I thought it was a moose at first, but now I'm wondering if they're that lizard. Their frill was coming out.
Yes. Can I tell you, the kids have so much fun with this one. In fact, when my kids were doing it, they were smiling, and then we looked at the word stinky. And it's like, we gotta change this. And I love what just happened here because we didn't see the antlers, yet we had to think a little more deeply to go to another animal. I do not read the book. I read the first two animals. You'll see that in my lesson plan. And so these are surprises. I had a teacher go, "What in the world?" She's like, "There's an animal that shoots stinky blood out of its eyes." Your kids will love this. May I say, you are amazing movers. Thank you for doing it. I mean, like, we were just like, do this in 60 seconds. You will take more time with your students. But I think you'll be so pleased at how they enjoy embodying those ideas. And they will learn, and they will remember, and they will infer, and be able to play with that interpretation, which you all beautifully did. Thank you very much. And I now have you go back to your seats, and we're going to hear from our lovely Kelleen.
Feel after moving? I know. Yeah, how do you feel after moving? Did it wake you up that you needed to move? and you know your students feel the exact same way. We don't do enough movement in our classrooms, do we? So I love using picture books to teach lessons. And I hope that as Jen and Miriam have been sharing with you their ideas with music and dance, that your mind has been making connections about the curriculum you teach, the grade level you teach, and you are coming up with ideas of how you could use these things. We're such a diverse group that sometimes it's difficult to address everything, but this book is full of so many things. And we're going to start a little art project, and then I'm going to continue talking, and I'm so sorry because we never get that downtime to just enjoy, but you're going to start a little art project, and then I'm going to fire hose you with some ideas of how we can integrate other things into this book. So you have in front of you Model Magic, and you need a black piece of construction paper. My students, yeah, there was, the paper's in there, yeah. Raise your hand if you don't have Model Magic or construction paper or a whole table. So, the paper, okay. My students love this book. I got it mid-year, knew we were going to be doing this, and so I tried lots of things with them. They loved this book even more than I thought they would. I teach 4th grade, and they wanted to hear it over and over and over again, even though, and the first time through, I'd read maybe a page a day or something, and they would have to guess who, and they're so excited because they know that they've got the right answer of who it is, and then when I tell them what it is, they're shocked because they were wrong, and I sometimes love proving them wrong, right? So, but it was so fun. They had such a great time, and this is one of the projects that I've done in 4th grade. Model Magic, you're going to create a 2D little sculpture on top of the construction paper. Model Magic will dry and adhere to the construction paper, okay? So now, if the kids are going to fold it and crunch it up, and it may eventually come off, but it adheres to it like glue. And so I have a gallon baggie if you want to use that to carry it home with, but you just have to push it down a little bit. You don't have to squish it down really hard. On the table are dinosaur, pictures of dinosaur fossils, the bones. There's also the, what was the bat called? What's the little bat? The bumblebee bat, yes. So just showing that you could use, there's also a hand. Depending on your curriculum, you could use the bones of an animal that your grade level studies, anything like that. So as my students do this, they want to make these great big bones and be done in 5 minutes, and I tell them they have to really look at the individual bones, and they'll never get all of them, but it's such a great thing for fine motor skills and for that eye-hand connection, coordination, for them to see what they're seeing and really put it down on the paper. So you guys are welcome to start that using any of the designs that you've got on your table. I just gave you a few examples. You don't need very much. I tell them to, wiggle it out as worms, and sometimes those rib bones are pretty teeny tiny, and I also tell them the more they work with it, the more the moisture is taken out of it, and you want some moisture there so it will adhere to the construction paper. But they have a really great time with this. Some kids are just so detail oriented that they are amazing. Others are just, let's put our bones up there, and we're happy. We're happy with what we've got. So you guys can enjoy that. You will want to do just little. It's surprising how far it goes. I do have some extra if anybody needs extra, if you're doing thick. And while we're doing that, I'm just going to go over a couple of things. Ways that I was able to use this book in my classroom, and connections, integration that I was able to make. One of the, there are lots of other visual art projects. You can go anywhere and find things, especially Halloween, about bones and skeletons, great things, the skulls. You can take white paint markers on brown craft paper and create some really fun skeletons, dinosaur skeletons, hand skeleton. It makes it look almost like an artifact when you do that. One of the ideas that I read about was doing that and then doing artist trading cards and letting your kids make them and then exchange them with students. Anything like that with bones. There's so many things, and I think you guys, I'm sure, have figured out some of the ways already that maybe you could use some art with this. Drama. Spencer Duncan is an art specialist in Jordan District, and he came up with some lesson plans that have to do with character development. So not only drama, but language. He had students choose an animal. Could be an animal from the book. It could be any animal. And then they would work in groups, and they would decide, the teacher would ask, who are you? And then they would come up with the answers. I am this, I live here, I need this to survive. The name of my bone found in the book or someplace else helps me to do what. Also maybe a fun fact about the animal. And then the audience, then the student that is doing this says, who am I? And the audience says, you are, and then guesses what it is. So that's kind of a fun little thing. Any kind of movement, the way we've done the dance, can carry over into drama. He also made some bunraku puppets, to where he had students make them in the sizes that, not that were accurate, but so the little bumblebee bat might be very small, and then of course the whale or the moose would be a big one, and interact with each other, play with each other that way after making those puppets. So kind of a fun activity to do. I hope you have already made the connection with how great this book would be with measurement across all grade levels. So many measurement ideas that can be had. Conversion after measuring, after finding out those measurements, converting those measurements. I know a lot of grade levels have conversion into metric, or even just from inch to feet, incorporating math with that. Comparison, comparing. A lot of the animals were compared with humans, and so comparing those. The whole idea of 10 times bigger, I know, is a big thing for upper grade levels, 10 times bigger in math, and you could correlate that with some of the sizes that are talked about in the book. The comparison to us. So math is a huge, huge connection when going through this book, and my kids had a ball measuring out how big something would be or how small something would be. I think it put it in real life perspective. Science, connections with science. Of course, animals. Many grade levels teach about different kinds of animals. Their habitats, you can carry that over into that. Their characteristics. Distinguishing traits among animal skeletons. I'm not sure if that's a specific second grade one. I don't know. But, and then structure and function is huge. I think in third grade up, structure and function, what the structure of the animal and what's the function of those bones, kind of a huge. And then survival. Survival's talked a lot in our core about how animals survive and what they do to survive. And you talk about how those bones help them survive and what kind of animals use them. ELA. Jen had talked about the song, Who Am I? I had my students create Google Slides, and this was towards the end of the year, so I told them they had to, they titled it, Who Am I? And then they had to come up with 4 or 5 different things that nobody else knew about them, and they put them on a slide and could put pictures, decorate, whatever, and then the last slide said, Who am I? And the students had to guess. And it was so fun to see these students dig a little bit deeper, so that they could maybe trick their classmates into what. But you could even do it at the first of the year. Do a Who Am I after reading the book or as reading the book. They loved it. I didn't expect the reaction for so many of these things that I did with my class. There was some really great connections. Of course, just reading the book satisfies reading informational text. Talking about the function and parts of speech, we can talk about the function of bones, the function of bones in our hand, and compare that with the parts of speech. Compare and contrast, a huge core standard in so many grade levels, and that book compares and contrasts so many different things, and that can carry over into that. Metaphors, similes, such a springboard for that. Along with Miriam's lesson plan, on the BYU Arts Partnership lesson plans, there are lesson plans for the Book of Bones. And different, I think they were all dance instructors, were they, Miriam? But created dances, and I know you used a lot of them, or some of them, just yours?
Actually, it's kindergarten through 6, and they're just little mini graphs.
Okay.
That our dance cohort did, and it's embedded within my lesson, and it is also standalone on the BYU Art.
Okay, yeah. So, and there were some tons of ideas. So make sure you go there to check that out. Connections and integrating with science and with math, movement, language, so many different things. And I truly believe that you guys are amazing educators, and you can take something like this and know how you're going to use it in your classroom. You know what will work. You know, whether you're teaching kindergarten or whether you're teaching 6th grade, that's a huge jump, but you know how to change it up so that maybe they can, you can get the most out of it. Yeah, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else. So we've still got about maybe 10 minutes for you to finish up your art. You're welcome to. We should have had Miriam keep her music out. But okay, yeah. Yes.
Okay, I'm old, so.
Hey.
So
It's okay.
So I still do it with my kids, but there was like a poem years ago but I still do it with my kids. The skeletons are out tonight. They march about the street with bony heads and bony hands and feet. And it goes bony, bony, bony bones with nothing in between. Up and down and all around, they march on Halloween. You could change the last part a little bit. But we do it with rhythm sticks in my class. And but the kids could be different, pick a different animal too to go with the book.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. And I know that there are so many things about bones, especially, like I said, Halloween time. Any other thoughts that you want to share? Any other things that you have tried that you think would work with this?
There's a kind of big craze going on in these Facebook groups in like 5th grade and up about volume zoos. So creating an animal out of boxes and calculating the volume and things like that. And oftentimes they color it in a paint or use construction paper on the outside and to make the outside color of their skin and things like that. But it sounds like you could convert that and have them do something similar to this to create the bones on the outside of their animals.
Yeah. But how fun just to use the boxes to create the animals. I mean, that, I love that. You can veer away from the bones and just create those animals that we see as a whole. Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else? Oh, Ezekiel. Yeah, dry bones. Yep. And I think, do you have that on your, did you? Oh, okay, yeah. So that's a great one. Yes. Okay, it is in the USEB songbook. Okay.
Just kind of building off what has been said, but you could take like the measurements of the bones and then see what type of container you would need to fit the bones in the container. So you kind of have perimeter and area.
Oh, absolutely, perimeter and area. You can have the kids create the bones on the ground and do it as, to ratio, to proportion. I had the kids measure their bodies and to see how long they were and then correlate that with some of the animals and they're amazed. That mandible we talk about says ours will fit in our chin, but theirs is what, 20 feet, and I don't think the kids quite understand that sometimes until they put it down, put it in perspective. Absolutely. Any other thoughts? Yes.
So it does standard measurements and non-standard, right? Like my pinky finger, but you also can do like a standard unit of measurement. Rulers, they refer to paper clips. Raisins, jelly beans, these are things that are very relatable to children. And so it makes a lot of sense to them. And they do have fun exploring that and going, how big is that?
Yeah, I think the one, is it the bat that says about the teaspoon that it'll fit? Yeah, so it's Fresken Shrew, that's right.
In a teaspoon.
Yeah.
Just to hold that up.
And because for them, a bat is like the vampire, right? And it swoops down and it's huge. All that, but yeah, anything like that. I think oftentimes we use fictional stories or picture books to jump off into lesson plans. And this was so fun to use an informational text to go to all these different areas with it. And like I said, my kids, after we'd read it through twice at certain different times, wanted it again, and which was really interesting to me. So, yeah, it kind of nice. They're not having as much fun as we are. We can cheer and shout. We have about 5 more minutes just to give you an idea. But we'd like to, if anybody has any questions or any other thoughts that you have had, we'd love to hear from you. You guys are definitely more creative than my 4th grade student. It looks so good. So fun.
So, Miriam,
Yeah.
can you tell them about some of the books that you have on there?
Oh, yeah, good idea.
Absolutely. I'd just like to say, this is very fun at Halloween, and I love to go to fiction and nonfiction, because I will say to my students, are skeletons real? And it just stops the kids. They're just like, no. It's like, actually they are. Can you locate? So my first lesson that's in the mini is for kindergarten, because they talk about the body and the 3 functions of the bones. And so just feeling that hard area. You've got a bone inside of you. But do bones walk around without muscles and skin? No. That's fiction. And so we kind of separate that. But then it's so fun. I also, in my lesson plan, I have more books than I show here. But I have book extensions here, and I also I will speak to music. In my lesson plan, I have given you the direct link to music. So you don't have to spend a fortune and forever trying to find music that fits. And those are suggestions. You may have yours like, hey, I have a better, my husband thought my snake music sounded like a rattlesnake. He's like, that's not Cobra. And I'm like, well, guess what? I couldn't find squeezy music. That sounded snakish. So trying to find the music that fits is quite a process. And so you can use my suggestions, you can do your own. But what I wanted to say, when you go to the Creative Dance Center website, anything by Eric Chappelle is worth purchasing. And you can't find it on the platforms. I can't find it on Spotify. It's a very hard one. But this is music for creative movement. And it's worth its weight in gold. And these are ones that I use, but I couldn't link it for you in the lesson, sorry. And also, in my kindergarten lesson, I do this fun little brain dance. Jelly-like gelatin, loosen up your skeleton. And these guys are producing this. I think I bought their last one. And so I contacted the artist. She lives back east and has given permission. So if you go into that grab bag, you actually have the link. She's let you use it. So yes, and so sometimes there are these little gems of music. Jennifer knows this. And so we try to empower you as much as we can to just have what you need. But also you may have things that work for you. So anyway, there are a lot of things. Can I tell you, you could spend a year. As I was listening to Jennifer and Who Am I could see the beginning of the year, right? And going through and doing this into art projects, you could make this so deep and rich. So we've got, are we there?
Pretty much there.
Yeah, any questions or comments before we clean up and give away 3 books? Oh, did you guys see?
Did everybody get to put their name on the
Yeah, if you didn't put your name in here, go do that right now. Yep, if you slipped in. Look at these authors, book of dinosaurs. Would your students get into that? Absolutely, and it goes right with Kelleen's lesson plan. Also, book of flight, and they're not all birds. So they have so many resources. And also, I want to tell you a book that you're like, what in the world did she put? They all saw a cat. This is about perspectives. We all see differently. And it goes into that. In art, we interpret. And artists usually don't care how we interpret. They just want us to think and feel, right? But in school, does it matter how you interpret things? Absolutely. It's called testing. We need to reach an objective. But this shows perspectives. The child sees the cat very differently than the mouse does. And this is a fabulous book to just teach how we look at things. So, all right. Anything else anybody needs to say, or are we all ready to skedaddle and say, this was the best day ever?
Till tomorrow.
Please.
Are these all in like the lesson plan that's in the agenda on our app, or do I need to like take pictures if you remember?
Well, I'm a visual person and I take pictures to remember. These are on my lesson plan, and they have to do with animals and movement. Children love animals. We all love exploring through movement, and it's a real safe and happy place. I do have more than these too on my lesson plan. So, and then if you go to the BYU Arts Partnership, you can directly click some links that help you know about illustrators, and yeah, feel free, take pictures. Also, I gave you 3 handouts. One is the lesson plan. One is all these concepts on the wall. Like, okay, how do we teach, because often when the children are choreographing, your students, you'll want them to put a little variety and interest. So that's like a menu. You can pick and choose as to what works best for you. And I also gave you clips of the actual words describing the bones, so you can just cut it up and whatnot. On the website, they're a little different just due to copyright purposes. But I gave you direct words from the books, which we as teachers have a little more liberty using. So, you guys are awesome. Thank you for being here today.